Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProChargeEV.com. All right, peeps. Get to it here. Game day. Saints at Rams on Thursday Night Football. We will preview that. And then we will also talk here about National Signing Day. Successful day for the Tigers. All 27 commits sign as expected and might not be done yet, as Tigers still have a shot at 5-star Terry Bussey, 5-star Dominic McKinley, the number 1 player in Louisiana. So lots of feedback, takeaways from Monday from Wednesday. And about Deion Smith driving a Lambo. For those that missed it, Deion Smith, who was one time an LSU receiver, was the number 1 player in the state of Mississippi back in the class of 21. And signed with LSU, ended up not making grades, goes to JUCO. Yesterday signed with Ole Miss, and at his signing ceremony, he showed up in a Lamborghini. Now, I'm certain he rented the Lamborghini, but still. Anyway, or he was loaned the Lamborghini. We'll get to the story eventually, but still funny. Oh boy. All right. Saints Rams tonight. Chris Olave in for the Saints. Good news. Ryan Ramczyk out for the Saints. So you'll be going up against Aaron Donald in that front without Ramczyk. Excuse me. And we'll see how the Saints do on a really significant night. I mean, this is a great opportunity for the Saints. You win this game, and if the Bucs lose to Jacksonville, then you are in first place of the South going to Tampa next week. So you lose this game, then depending on what happens with Tampa and Jacksonville, you will likely need to win out and might even need some help. So we'll see how it goes here with Saints Rams tonight. Rams a 4-point home favorite over the Hoodats. Okay, we'll say some good mornings. Fire away, you know the drill. Kelly Gross, Jason Truax, what's up, man? Charlie Cavell, Kent Hammers, Bubba Smith. What up? Good morning, y'all. Titus Barrett, good morning. I'm a Rams fan, but not confident the Rams will win. Saints always play the Rams tough, especially the bogus no-call pass interference. Well, Titus, that's not exactly the best litmus test. I mean, the New Orleans Saints were the number 1 seed in the NFC that year. So, in 2018, the Saints were the number 1 seed. They were the home team with Drew Brees against Jared Goff. So I don't know that I would necessarily circle that one. I mean, that wasn't the Saints playing the Rams tough. That was more so the opposite, where the Saints started off that game. They got a turnover from Goff. I thought the roof was going to come off the Superdome. And then the game kind of settled in, and Rams took control. Saints had a chance to win it, and they got robbed. And then the Saints had the ball first in overtime and gagged it away, which most people forget. But anyway. Okay, let's see. In the history of this series, the Rams lead at 43-35-0. 43-35-0. Let's see. So the Saints beat the Rams last year. They lost to him in 19. That was the game where Breeze was injured out in L.A. in the Coliseum, where he jammed his thumb on Aaron Donald's helmet. Nola no call prior to that. So really with Stafford, they've played just once last year, the game in the Dome. Wendell Norman, good morning. Brennan Huff, Solar Flares. Brian Wynn, good morning. Please don't talk about staff changes at LSU. No worries. As long as you don't ask about it. Let's see. Cliff Nelson, good morning, Uncle Scone, LFG, Team Drew. Will Davis, morning, Matt. Drama-free signing day was refreshing. Trivia Carter, good morning. Gundam, good morning, Matt. Question, if the Saints' offensive line can keep Carr clean, can we win? Yeah, the Saints can win this game. It's so the line is 4, and both teams are 7-7. So, and the Rams are 4-3 at home. Saints are 3-4 on the road. So neither team has been like dominant in this situation. Both teams have been among the better teams the last several weeks. The Rams have actually kind of hit their stride now over the last month. Trivia says tank. It's too late for that trivia. You've already won 7 games. The time for tanking is way earlier in the season. Even if you lose out and go 7-10, you're still picking outside of the top 10, and you're not getting one of the 3 best quarterbacks in this draft. So, accept the fact that they're not tanking. Now, they're going to lose tonight, I believe. But anyway. But, the Rams, similar to the Saints, had that bumpy beginning, which inconsistent teams do. They opened the season with a win. Then they went loss, win, loss, win, loss, then win, loss, win. So they haven't strung together long winning streaks. Really, the 3-game winning streak that they just had was the only winning streak. They hadn't won more than 1 game consecutively all year until that. Then they lost at the Ravens 37-31. Then they won last week against Washington. So they've won 4 of 5, which has put them back in playoff contention. But their early season struggles were a problem. So it's interesting. You have 2 teams that have really struggled this year at times, but are playing better of late. But the playing better of late has also been against not great teams. For example, the Rams beat Seattle, Arizona, Cleveland, and Washington. And they lost the Ravens, but they scored 31 in that game on the road. So, Saints have won 2 in a row, but they did it against Carolina, and they did it on a day where they looked awful, but still managed to win that game. And, then they beat the Giants last week, where they played pretty well. We'll see. Can the Saints win? Yes. Will they? I do not believe so. Cliff Nelson, now the signing day is over. Can we talk about the expected defensive staff changes, as we haven't really covered that? Jacob Thompson, Tim Gotro, Rick Hess, good morning. How long does Joe Sloan stay at LSU? That's a good question, Rick. I know Joe wants to be a head coach, and that shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. Ambitious young coach who's done a really good job. There was some mild interest a year ago that never obviously came to fruition, but his stock certainly is elevated now after the season with Jaden Daniels. So I don't think Sloan is one that you can count on staying at LSU for years. That's a 38-year-old quarterbacks coach who is looking to be a head coach and is looking to be upwardly mobile actively. So, that's not to say an opportunity couldn't come this offseason still. We'll see. It's Poppy504. Let's see, trivia. My new name is from the Ric Flair I Can't Help It promo. Pretty good. Look it up. Okay. Mark Allen. Morning, Matt. Sounds like LSU isn't taking any more transfers. I wouldn't be so sure about that, Mark. They are going to introduce on Friday the 3 transfers that they've got. I'll remind you that there's another spring portal window. So even if they don't take any more transfers right now, you're going to go into spring ball with a much better idea of what your roster looks like and where you're strong and weak. And coming out of spring, you may absolutely have players in other places that enter the portal. The example that I'll always give you is Joe Burrow. But he's not the only one that's been a post-spring transfer. Several years back, remember LSU had a Terrence Alexander from Stanford, who was a post-spring Louisiana guy, who was a post-spring transfer. So wouldn't rule it out. Wouldn't rule it out completely. Jamunison, morning, Matt. It's go time tonight, baby. If we win, I'll be more excited for the Saints than I've been in years. B-Rock, good morning. Jason H., morning from the barbershop. Jesse Brown, good morning. Thoughts on the signing class? Also, when do we get all the transfers names? Well, we know the 3 players that are transferring in. It's Jordan Gilbert, Xavier Thomas, and A.J. Swan. So you've got your 3 transfers coming in. And we'll see if they add more, but they'll formally talk about those on Friday. Thoughts on the signing class? I thought they did a good job. I know people are going to look and say Georgia had the number 1 class and Bama was number 2 and Texas was number 4. And Texas coming into the league now, whatever. I think if your team finishes high in the rankings, you flaunt it. If your team finishes not as high as you'd like in the rankings, you downplay the importance of rankings. So I don't mean for this to be I don't mean for you to take this as me just downplaying recruiting rankings because LSU didn't finish top 5. Like, if LSU had the number 1 class, I'd probably be touting the number 1 class. They finished, I think, 11th right now. But what I will always say is I am now more interested in the blended rankings as well, which blends both the high school and the transfer class because all of that matters together. Whatever. I love what LSU did. We've talked about them wanting to put a fence around the state. You got 17 players from Louisiana, including 8 of the top 10, and you're still in the mix for Dominic McKinley. So that's good. Last year we talked about how they didn't get a lot of the top players in Louisiana, from Arch Manning and Tackett Curtis. The quarterback from Zachary went to Bama. I'm blanking on his name right now. Doesn't matter. Williams, the safety that went to Texas. Point is, if you're going to criticize Kelly for not keeping the best players in the state, then on a year like this where they absolutely nail it, you have to give them praise. So I like that. I like that they kept the best players in the state home and made that a focus. I like that they addressed needs. You absolutely had to get better in the secondary. You signed 4 cornerbacks and 2 safeties. Your highest rated player in this class is a safety out of Denham, Deshaun McBride. I like what they did. I like a lot. what they did with this class. You got an elite offensive tackle in Weston Weaver, so you continue to add like 5-star blue chip offensive linemen. You added another freak show tight end, which we know Kelly recruits and develops offensive linemen and tight ends. You got a quarterback in Colin Hurley, who's he reclassified, is only 16 years old, but tremendous upside. So I like what they did. I think the focus on Louisiana, addressing positions of need, getting guys who are solidly committed that didn't waver, I like it, But you never really know about a signing class until their careers are over. Look, I mean, the A&M class from a couple of years ago is the best example ever. George Bannister, Cody Thibodeau, morning, Matt. Did you ever determine what is LSU's team hotel in Vegas for September? Yes, it's a Mandalay Bay and Delano is where they're staying. So for those that are interested in staying where the Tigers are staying, it's right by the stadium. So Mandalay Bay and Delano is where LSU's staying. Truth Hurts, good morning. CK, what's up, Scone? Excited to see these young LSU recruits develop. You were spot on with Caden being an NFL quality back. Damon Gilmore, Brad David, what was the reason for the NCAA adding an early signing period? Kind of what I talked about yesterday, Brad. I mean, all the other sports have them, but football was the only one that didn't. It was to make February less of a spectacle, but also it protected both the kids and the coaches. Now, the coaches don't love it because the December signing period happens like right in the middle of the season still. I mean, I know there's a break right now, but there's a lot of players and coaches getting ready for bowl games and playoff and all that sort of stuff. And meanwhile, they have to go through this, this recruiting period. But I don't care. I mean, I think it's better for the players and for the schools to know if they're really committed to each other. And that prevents some of the signing day scenarios where teams pull scholarships or kids flip on schools and they're left empty-handed in the February signing day when everybody else already is committed and there aren't as many fish left in the sea. Abner Neal, good morning. Daniel Roof, good morning. Are Deuce Chestnut and Denver Harris available next season? Remains to be seen officially on their status, Daniel. I don't know if they're still enrolled in school, but they're not with the team. I'll tell you that much. Wade Lowry, gotta have faith, man. Bailey C, I don't see them winning tonight. Carr is going to have his best game. Is going to have his best game. You're not playing the two worst teams in the league anymore. GameCube, man, Matt Plavidal. Matt, biggest prize with recruits. Eric Gilbert still the biggest at the time. You mean like all time? I don't know, man. There's always signing day surprises. Jamarcus was a big signing day surprise. Dwayne Bowe was a very pleasant surprise on signing day. Or if you're talking about guys who you thought would pan out that didn't, I mean, Gilbert was the highest rated tight end in the history of 24/7, and that didn't work out. So, let's see, Wade, can you break down the playoff pictures with us having a loss, with other teams having losses if they do lose? Can you break down the playoff picture with us having a loss, with other teams having losses if they do lose? Wait, what the hell does that mean, man? That is a word salad with the word lose and they. Too many pronouns in there. The most simple way, if you're talking about the Saints, is win out and you win the division. So if you win your next three, you win the division because you would have a head-to-head against Tampa. So if you win your next three, you finish 10-7. At best, Tampa would finish 9-8, so you'd win the division. If you lose tonight and then beat Tampa and Atlanta, and you finish tied with Tampa at 9-8, they would win the tiebreaker because of division record, and they would have beaten you twice. So tonight is very important, yes. The the next 2 weeks, because they're divisional games, I would argue, are even more important because of the head-to-head with Tampa and the potential tiebreaker with the head-to-head or division record. So, the other thing to keep in mind is right now the Rams have the final wild cards at 7-7, have the final wild card spot in the NFC. So if you were to beat the Rams tonight, and let's say Tampa wins on Sunday against Jacksonville, Tampa would still have the lead in the NFC South, but the Saints at 8-7 would overtake the Rams. But Seattle would be ahead because they have the best win percentage in conference games. So you would need Seattle to lose as well. That might have been just as confusing as your question. But the easiest way to say it, Wade, is win out and you're in. Dalton Barnett, morning Matty, not sure if it's been covered, but any coaching moves on defense coming up? Also, Michael Thomas trade value rising. All jokes, love the show. Got it. Tiger Diver, morning Scone. Have you checked on your buddy Billy Lucci? I did not talk to Billy yesterday. One of you sent me the clip yesterday, and I appreciate it. It was funny. I'll play it. Let me see if I can find it real quick for those who haven't seen it. See if I can find it. Hang on. I'll get there. So Billy was on, here it is, I found it. So Billy was on Texags Radio with David Nuno. And for those that don't know, Billy Lucci is the founder, owner, all that stuff of Texags. So what you're going to hear first is David Nuno. The first voice is David Nuno, then it's Billy Lucci. He's talking about LSU tampering. Here you go.
Spoke when Jordan Gilbert decided to go to LSU. I would have liked for him to stick around, but whatever. Like they got to go get guys there too.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything about the tackle against Miami, but I hope there's more of that to come at LSU. I don't like LSU. I don't like the way they attempt to tamper with the A&M roster. I don't like a lot of things about LSU other than my friends that are LSU fans, graduates, former player. But I don't like Brian Kelly. I don't like the way they operate. So if you go to LSU, I don't like you.
Spoke when Jordan Gilbert decided to go to LSU.
If you go to LSU, I don't like you. Woo. Billy's so salty, man. Hey, remember that time when Texas A&M colluded with John Chavis when he was still the LSU defensive coordinator? Anyway. Oh, Billy. I mean, look. I'll tell you here what I said yesterday on AFR. Does LSU collude or tamper? Yeah, of course they do. Does Texas A&M tamper? You darn right. Does Miami and Georgia and Alabama and Maryland and Illinois and Michigan State and Washington and Oregon and Cal and every other team in college football, do they all tamper? Yes. Nobody tells on anybody because everybody's doing it. It is honor amongst thieves. I'm not going to tell on you because if I do, then someone's going to turn around and tell on me. So A&M is frustrated, and so somebody leaks that to Billy, and then Billy goes on TexAgs and says what he says. But come on, man. Like, I'm not going to sit there and, like, go on AFR and bemoan NIL and how all these other schools are just buying their classes like A&M did 2 years ago, and how did that work out? But anyway, oh, Billy, sweet Billy boy. Ransom Man's morning, Matt. Looking around the NFL, is it parity or bad football? What's your take on it? Yeah, that's a good question, man. I think it's bad football. I think the quality of play is down significantly, and we saw that especially early in the season. And this has been said a bunch, but I think it's right. So much of it is the lack of practice time. Not only the lack of time on the practice field, but the lack of contact. And I get it, because if you're going to keep increasing the season, and now you're at 17 games, and you need to be healthy for Sundays, and they're going to have you travel internationally, and they're going to make you play on short weeks on Thursday, and all the other stuff, then it's more important that your star players be on the field on Sunday than you'll be going through hours-long practices of full contact. So, yeah, I think the lack of practice time and the lack of contact in practice has certainly impacted the quality of play. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Let's see. Ronnie Duke, Shane Bigfellow, Leon Williams, Dalton. Any thought on Chip Kelly's no conference model? Dalton, I have said this for years, and honestly, man, this isn't a you problem, but it's like, it's kind of annoying to me because I have stumped for this for years, and most people just thought they were delusional ramblings. But I've said this for years that we are headed to one college football where you don't have conferences, you don't have affiliations. It's an invite only of the top 50 or 60 teams in college football, and you have your own league, and like that's what's going to happen. And I think everyone sees that as an inevitability now, but I've been saying that for years. Some person, I think the Saints lose to the Rams, Bucks get eliminated, and beat Atlanta week 18. Okay. Weston Weaver. Good morning. Jason Mathern. Weston, I think yesterday I might have referred to Weston Davis, the LSU offensive line commit, as Weston Weaver. I don't know why that just popped into my head, but I think I did. Because I saw the name Weston, and I guess your name, after saying it every day, was on my mind. People are like, did he say Weston Weaver? Who's Weston Weaver? It's a morning Sconer, don't worry about it. I meant to say Weston Davis. Jason Mathern, let's see, Mark Allen, seems to me Louisiana's 3 stars are 4 and 5 stars in other states. Maybe. Let's see, Bailey, if the Saints go 8-9, miss the playoffs, and they keep Allen and Carmichael, we get a red-faced rain. Yes. I don't think that will happen, however. If they miss the playoffs, I think they will fire them. Carter 4, Mojo, Josh, what makes us think Dennis Allen will be an average to above average team? Good point. I don't. Gorilla, good morning. Leon Williams, I think the Saints will win at least 2 or 3 and get a wild card. We'll see. Jeff Hawk, good morning. Good morning. Josh, I hate that I'm gaining faith in this team again. Just to let me down. Mojo, why are we pulling for the Saints to win? We need them to lose to get a shot at drafting a solid quarterback. Because I want them to win out, go 10-7, win the division, and host a playoff game and win it. Barry Jocelyn, good haul yesterday. Looks like a bunch of dogs. It's funny. Did y'all hear my... do you remember the segment I did a few weeks back when I talked about LSU purging the two cornerbacks out of the class, Kai Bates and Andre Evans? And they took two guys, one from Hattiesburg and one from JFK in New Orleans. The kid from JFK in New Orleans is Bernard Causey. Anyway, and I talked about how LSU was recruiting sort of in the Napoleon model where they were, get on a plane to go to Vegas to recruit a 3-star in Jeremiah Hughes when you could throw a rock and hit a dozen 3-stars from LSU's campus. Well, they purged Andre Evans and Kai Bates, and one of the guys they took was 3-star Bernard Causey from JFK in New Orleans. And I said about how they're getting all these dudes out of dogs. Like, do I believe Frank Wilson knows a good player when he sees him? Did you hear what Bernard Causey said yesterday? This was courtesy of Richie Mills of WGNO in New Orleans. Listen to this.
For everyone in Baton Rouge that watches this, what kind of player are they getting out of you?
A dog. And I ain't holding no talking back, a dog. Straight up.
What have you seen from him over the course of your time together that gives you the confidence?
I don't know if y'all could hear it. For everybody in Baton Rouge, what kind of player are they getting? A dog. I ain't holding no talking back. A dog. That's the 3-star cornerback out of JFK in New Orleans that you just signed. What kind of player are you getting? A dog. I ain't holding no talking back. A dog. Trivia, we're taking fire Dennis Allen. They can fire Dennis Allen either way, bro. Let's see, what time is it? 8:05. All right, let's get rolling here a little bit, y'all. Please smash the like button if you're new. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for being there, y'all. If the Saints lose tonight, are you and Drew taking that ride to the mall? LOL, happy holidays. No, it'll be too late for that, but I will do a live stream if you'd like. Brian Wynn, Matt, what's up with Chuck? Is he too good for morning with Scone? It's been a minute since we've seen our buddy old Chuck. Chuck Sanchez. Good dude, man. Can you block out our son how you block us? James Avery, Carter 4, the Stadlers, Matt love the shows. Always wonder about your BCS championship replica behind you. I'm wanting one, but I'd like to see it as far as size, no videos of them anywhere. That is, you know what? That is from 2003. As far as size, what do you mean? It's kind of, it's a little bigger than my hand. The base is a little bigger than my hand. The ball kind of looks like, does that help? That's the size of the ball. And it's authentic. This is crystal. This is like a real deal replica, just to scale, just smaller, obviously. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Antron, it's game day. Good time of day yesterday for the Tigers. Happy holidays to my family, yours. Will do, Antron. Appreciate it, man. Jesse Brown, hate this Thursday night football on Prime. Well, my wife buys everything on Prime, so we have Prime Video, so whatever. Jerry G. Prokaryotic. Where did the eukaryotic cell come from? Oh, God. Why are you here? Irfan Sayad. Jerry G. Ransom Antoine. I was like, wait, the high school kid is on Morning Scone? What you mean? What did I... Oh, no, I was just playing the soundbite, yeah. Robert Hussey. Why do the Saints players miss 2 months with a sprained ankle and other teams' players miss 2 or 3 weeks? I don't know who you're talking about. And there's obviously various degrees of sprains. Lewis Handel. Rams are a good team. Do you believe this game is a defining moment for the Saints? Yeah. I mean, if you lose this game, you're on the road next week against Tampa with your playoff life on the line. So, yeah, I mean, you really need to win this game. All right, it's Poppy, my alma mater, Kennedy Senior High, New Orleans. Okay. Hey, bro. Here's the thing, and this is what I said then, and I'll repeat it here. Do you trust Frank Wilson to be able to identify players in this state who are good enough to play at LSU? Ranking be darned. Bernard Causey is a 3-star. Hang on. Bernard Causey is rated as a 3-star, the number 735 player nationally, the 37th best cornerback, and the 14th best player in Louisiana. Okay, so, no, I'm sorry, that's in just 2%. In the composite, he's number 735 nationally, the 58th best cornerback, and the 23rd best player in Louisiana. That's a cornerback that LSU just took. Do you trust Frank Wilson knows who's a better player? Kai Bates out of Orlando, who's a top 100 player. So LSU purged Kai Bates, a top 100 player nationally, from Orlando, to take Bernard Causey out of JFK in New Orleans, who's number 735 nationally. Do you believe Frank Wilson knows what he's doing? Because I do. And then I hear that interview with Bernard Causey where he says, I'm a dog. Give me that guy. Because you know what LSU didn't have on their teams this year? Dogs. Glenn Garner, B. Lorkey, Saints and Pels tonight. Hope for a great night for NOLA Sports. When you call Weston David West Weaver. I don't know that I did. I just think I did. I don't remember. Jason H., Taylor Hudson, Ivan Salazar. Let's not fool ourselves. The Aints are going to lose both their next 2 games. Ivan, to be very, very clear, and I have said this as clearly as I possibly can every time we've talked about this. The Saints fan in me, as a Saints fan, I'm not cheering for my team to lose. As a Saints fan, I want them to win. I want them to win out, go 10-7, win the division, host a playoff game, likely against Philly. If the way Philly's going, I mean, Dallas wins the division, you host Philly, we'll see anyway. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see the Saints win out, win the division, go to the playoffs. That's what I want to see. What I think will happen is the Saints are going to lose tonight on Thursday Night Football, and they're going to go to Tampa and lose, and they'll host Atlanta in Week 18 and probably lay down. That's what I think will happen. And they'll fire Dennis Allen, and the Saints get a new coach, and we'll see how it goes. Tiger Diver per Ross Dellinger. FSU looking to get out of the ACC. Where do you think they will land if they leave? They've been trying to get out of the ACC, and I don't know where they would land. The problem is when the ACC, and it's kind of the irony of this situation. Yes, I am using irony correctly. It's that the ACC, when all the tumult was happening in college football a few years ago, they signed a long-term TV deal, like ironclad with their granted rights, thinking that, okay, if we have this long-term deal, then nobody can leave. Look at Florida State. They're trying to leave and they can't. But the irony of the situation is that long-term TV deal is not nearly lucrative enough to keep pace with the rest of college football. And so the thing you did to save your conference is the thing that is causing your conference to fall behind and may actually kill it. Okay, Deborah Coward, good morning. Mark Vitanovich, good morning. Steve Scott, Matt, any recommendations on a whiskey price range, $60, maybe $70? Got to get my Christmas shopping in today. Need to get something in that range for one person in particular. Yeah, man, look, I mean, I would always recommend if you could find something nice, like in that range, like Blanton's is in that range. You can get nice bottles for less than that. I mean, you could get Eagle Rare if you could find it. I mean, these are attainable bottles that are not easy to find, but you can find. If you're looking for something that is available everywhere you go, that's a really good bottle in that price range, I would recommend two. I would either recommend Old Elk or Four Roses Single Barrel. Those would be my two recommendations in that $60 price range. So Four Roses Single Barrel, which is this one. Four Roses Single Barrel. That one. Or Old Elk, which I don't know if you can see it, but it's that one right there. Right there. Old Elk. Those would be my suggestions. Tony Williams, Paul Hebert, good morning. I'm sorry, it's Paul Herbert. My bad. Rick Kelly, Matt, isn't true most of the recruiting services never set foot on high school campuses to watch kids' game, or rather watch huddle films. I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that do a really good job that cover recruiting and some that don't. You know. Stephen Bro, can you put Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You playing in the background? Need some good Christmas music going into the holidays. No. Then my stream will get muted. Ryan Amanda Guidry, great morning show like always. Thank you. Jacob Willis, Josh DeVilliers, what's going on? Get a bell for the DC questions.
Smash that like button.
All right, y'all. Trey Fisher, what's good? Christian Geiger, Adam Penny, good to see y'all. Okay, I think we're just about done. Thanks so much for being here. Any more? Glenn Garner, I just don't like Four Roses. That's so weird. I don't mean to be rude, Glenn, and I know everybody has their own taste and palate and everything, but typically say, man, if you don't like Four Roses, now I'm talking about Four Roses Single Barrel. I'm not talking about just their standard basic Four Roses bourbon. I'm talking about Four Roses Single Barrel. It's such an approachable whiskey that's flavorful and bold, but not overwhelming, that has a little bit of sweet and caramel, vanilla to it. I'm just always like, that's one that it's almost like if you don't like Four Roses Single Barrel, I tell people, like, if you don't like that, you're probably not going to like bourbon. ATX said, which Old Elk? I mean, I would just go, I love the wheated bourbon, and they also have a straight wheat whiskey. The straight wheat whiskey actually is my favorite of all the Old Elks. Now, look, they have a 4-grain, which is fantastic, and they have the Infinity Blend a few years ago, which was awesome. I'm talking about the things that you'll find on the shelf every day. If you can find the wheated bourbon or the wheat whiskey, I would go with that. But that's my own personal preference. Wheat, it tends to be softer and sweeter, and I just like that better. But the Old Elk straight bourbon whiskey is the one that I'm talking about. That's in that 50, 55, dollar price range that you do. So. Right. Titus Barrett, Matt Wood Steele with Michael Thomas hurt. So Titus said, Matt, what's the TV deal? I'm sorry, it's Mark Allen. What are the terms of that TV deal? So just real quickly, the ACC television deal was agreed to in 2016, and it runs through 2036. They signed a 20-year TV deal, and the programs get about $40 million each per year. Like, by the end of that TV deal, the rest of college football will have lapped them. 2036, y'all. I mean, you got a dozen more years on that deal. I mean, they signed a 20-year deal thinking we're committing to each other long term, so nobody is leaving. This is an ironclad deal. That's why they signed that super long-term TV deal. But again, it's at such a relatively low payout. Oh. All right, we're just about done. Oh, by the way, y'all, real quick, shout out to Crystal Poshare, Restored Motions. I'm actually going to see Crystal tomorrow. Thank God, it's been a minute. If you go to her website, she is running a Matt Moscona special for on gift cards. So if you go to the website, restoredmotions.com, restoredmotions.com, I think it might be able to gift certificates. I'll find the link. Anyway, or call her, find it. She's discounting all of her sessions as like the Moscona Christmas special type deal. So if you're interested in booking a session with Crystal, you've been curious about it, trying, like she's got discounts on all, if it's the 60-minute, the 90-minute, the 2-hour session. I think she's got a 3-hour session as well. So you could get a gift card discounted before Christmas. So you can call her or go to the website, restoredmotions.com, restoredmotions.com. Okay, y'all, have an awesome, awesome day. Peace. I'm out of here.